It's a bird. It's a plane.
Actually, I think it's Mothman. Hello and welcome back to It's Queer Magic. It's me, Kierbo, and today we are going to talk about me. Thank you. We're doing the Alphabet Superset. We're in week C, how time has flied. And for this week's C video, I am deciding to talk about my personal favorite cryptids. Cryptids are creatures of myth, of modern myth and folktale all over the world that are on the liminal energy of like, is this real? Is it not real? Is this science? Is it science fiction? Is this mythical or is it magical or is it just mundanity? Who knows? I don't know. You don't know. And frankly, I think probably should never know. Otherwise, it will just not be as fun. We're not talking about like all cryptids ever or like talking about like debating who's real and who's not. We're like not gonna go into like the cryptids of my area or whatever. I just want to talk about the cryptids that tickle me. The cryptids that I enjoy, that I think are funny or fun or that I just like. So this is an opinion piece video about how much I like these particular cryptids. Okay, let's get started. These are in no particular order. Mad love to all cryptids. The first cryptid I want to talk about is from Celtic mythology. Now, these babies are not funny. They're scary and dangerous, but for some reason they just tickle me. And I don't know. Maybe it's the like latent like horse person inside of me, but I am in love with kelpies. Have you heard of a kelpie? A kelpie is like water spirit from Scottish culture that when it comes on land is like, oh, look at me. I'm the fanciest horse you might have ever seen. Don't you want to return me to my owner? Or maybe you want to harness me for yourself. Either way, hop on my back. Why are they described as like so alluring? I don't know. I love that. I'm just like, I get it. A kelpie would get me. It's like, oh no, I've lost my rider. Do you want to be my rider? And I'd be like, yeah, okay. You're choosing me? Like, okay, racing stripes. Okay, horse sense. Like, yes, absolutely. I will 100% be your rider. But then joke's on you because you get on their back and they do what? They take you deep down under sea to drown you or take you to, I think, to be like a slave or something. I don't know the particulars of what happens when you get down there, but you are not returning home to your Scottish village. That is not happening. You are now property of the Kelpies. And like, why? I love them. I'm not sure that they actually like technically count as a cryptid because so many cryptids are not, like Pegasus is not a cryptid, right? Like, I guess it kind of is. You know, maybe I should have looked it up before this, but ultimately, for some reason, I feel like there's a line between a cryptid and like a mythological creature. But ultimately, if there's a mythological creature and we're like, no, we've seen it, does that not just like turned into a cryptid? I think yes. When you're doing cryptozoology, you are looking at unicorns and stuff too, right? Like centaurs and shit. So it's gotta be a cryptid. Anyway, it's on this list. Kelpies for the win. I love them. Any horse that's like, oh no, like a damsel in distress trap, but it's a horse. They would get me. They would get me. They would succeed. They would be right along the river being like, oh, Kier, we need help. I'd be like, I got you, baby. I help you every day. I know there's a way out of it. But I don't know how to get out of it. And I should look it up, especially saying that I'm someone who like would fall for that. I feel like now I wouldn't fall for it because of how much I like them and looked into it. So it's like, okay, if there's a horse on the riverside who's like, ooh, and I just like happen to be in Scotland or in the Appalachian Mountains because that land is the same land. Any horse anywhere that's like, please help me. I'm about to call animal control and let it be their issue and not, I'm not getting dragged under the sea. Okay, that's not happening. I'm not going under the river. I'm not going to be enslaved anywhere. I'm not doing it. I'm not drowning. I would hate that. So I am gonna call and let some other horse enthusiast come take care of this scary creature. I love that water spirits are so across the board. Like there's so many water spirits that are like healers and have this like playful trickster energy, but like ultimately are delightful and beneficial and benevolent. But also, there are absolutely so many water spirits who are like, hey, I'm gonna murder you. I'm angry and I'm taking it out on you. Like, this is it. They're vengeful. Like, I know that there are some river spirits who will play with you all day and love you. And then as soon as you need a favor, like you need revenge or somebody's trying to take advantage of you, bing, bang, boom. That's the end of the story for them. Like, whoo, swift and harsh justice, so to speak. So that's all the Kelpies. I love Kelpies. Mad love to the Kelpies, even though I'm mightily scared of you. But you know what? All my favorite things I'm afraid of. Like, I love great white sharks. I love saltwater crocodiles. Those are terrifying things. Portuguese man-o-war. So scary, but awesome. So that just tracks for me. Next cryptid I did not know about, right? Until I was doing this video and I was like, let me just make sure I'm not forgetting any, right? And so I like go to look it up and I'd never heard of these, but they jumped to the top 5, top 4 spot as soon as I heard their story. And these are the Loveland frogmen. First of all, you know I'm an aquarium bitch. I have fish tanks. It's part of my devotional practice. I love water, life, fresh water, salt water, brackish water, whatever the water sign me up, I love it. So I'm already on board, right? Even though frogs move really quickly and when something moves quickly, I'm afraid of it. I'm sharing you all my weaknesses. The story goes, like hella paraphrased, of course, that some businessman, like why is it always a businessman? A businessman was like going about driving down a road or whatever, and he comes across these people, these frogmen that are like life-size, like human-sized frogs with like human-style legs, right? And they're like having a chat. There's like 3 or 4 of them like having a conversation. And instead of like minding his own business, he's like watching them. And then one pulls out like a wand. He's like, it looked like a magic wand. And I hightailed it out of there. First of all, if I come across a clearly private meeting, cryptid or no, right? That's none of your business, right? Like, well, it's just none of your business. Like, go about your day, go about your time. And they only had to pull out their wand because they're like, this man is nosy. Like, he's trying to get in our business. And I can't fault them for that. Like, I cannot. That's rude. And apparently, like, people hadn't seen them after that. Like, that was their first encounter for a long time. And then somebody, like, went in a river and got attacked. Like, something tried to get it. And it had, like, a mark on her leg. She had like a mark on her leg that was similar to what the frogmen were supposed to look like. And they had been seen a couple of times since that time. So yeah, they're scary. Do they eat humans? Maybe. But you know what? Like, I eat plants. I eat other animals. Like, I can't get that mad just because something decides that humans are what they eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's here, it's been approved by the universe, by existence. Like, who am I to say you shouldn't exist? You know what I'm saying? So what's up, Frogland, Loveland frogman? Love you. Love your meetings. I would personally let you have your meeting and not get in your way. I hope everything's going well for you. And I hope you have a good day. Imagine the Loveland frogmen are watching my video. Imagine they subscribed. If you subscribe now, you'll be among good company like the Loveland frogmen who absolutely subscribe to my channel. Okay, if we're talking about cryptids, I feel like I'm gay and I can't not talk about the Mothman, right? But I got feelings about Mothman because I feel really bad for Mothman because Mothman never did anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just so happened to be there when y'all's like bridge of not great structural integrity decided to like collapse. Not even right away. Like, he didn't like fly over and then it happened, right? Wasn't it like a couple of days? Imagine if I had done research and looked this up instead of just talking to you. I didn't, so this is not an educational video. I'm just like, all Mothman did was like pass through town. That's just like, that's not a problem. We don't need to be upset. Like, why are people hunting the Mothman? Like, literally leave him alone. And I understand that most people aren't hunting the Mothman and they just like actually want to see him because they're obsessed with him and want to, they want to be intimate. They want to biblically know the Mothman, which to each their own. I love a monster fucker, but I don't know that he's into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that he likes that because people are always talking about touching their wings. You can't touch a moth's wings. I'm sorry. If you want him so much, why would you not look into his culture, look into his people, and make sure that what you want to do with him is something that he'd be cool with? Because moths really hate it. They can't have you touching their wings. I don't think it's going to be like fairies in fantasy books where if you touch their wings, they're like, oh, you know, that's not going to happen because he's not a fairy. He's a moth. And moths suffer when you touch their wings. So why don't you, if you're someone watching this and you're like, I love the Mothman, I want to be intimate with the Mothman, look up his culture. Look up what intimacy means for him before you decide that you are gonna know how to make sure it's pleasurable, because I think you may be wrong. But I love the Mothman just because of his fame. Like, we love a famous celebrity cryptid. I think that's funny. But you know, fame is a heavy burden to bear. And I'm sure the Mothman is like, oh, there's a reason he's not on Instagram, you know? There's a reason he's not on TikTok. There's a reason he doesn't do press tours. Like, he hasn't released a book. And it's because fame is a lot. And I wouldn't wish that on someone who's not prepared for it. Especially someone who seemed to have just been taking a quick little vacation on Earth and was like, I don't know if this is my area, and bailed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I say, just like leave Britney alone, I say leave Mothman alone. Let Mothman go. Because if you love something, listen. If you love something, come close. Listen. If you love something and it wants to go, you got to let it go. Okay, now I know I said this was in no particular order and it wasn't, but I did save my actual favorite cryptid for last. And this may not surprise anybody because it's a lot of people's whole lives. It's a lot of people's whole lives. It's not my whole life. It just happens to be my favorite cryptid. And that is my girl, my homie, my kin, my number one bad bitch, Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Who doesn't love Bigfoot? Another case of like, can humanity just like leave people alone, please? Like, why do we think we deserve to know everybody's business? Like, we are not the number one species on the planet, the only species that matters. We're not like the government of the whole species. Like, we don't need to be like, you need to come register with us. Like, leave Bigfoot alone. Leave all these cryptids alone unless they're in your business, right? And the only thing from what I remember that Bigfoot did to get in anybody's business was to help somebody. They helped a child. They helped a little boy, I believe. I don't remember the child's gender. They helped a child. And how do we repay that? By taking our guns into the forest?
Why?
And you're like, why won't Bigfoot show themselves to us? Maybe because you're armed, Brenda. Are you serious? Like, I wouldn't want to come meet you either. There are states I avoid. And it's because of the arms. Don't bear arms against me. I'm Bigfoot. And there are many reasons to think that Bigfoot's not real, and I get that because they're like, oh, we have cameras, we have all of this, like, why wouldn't somebody capture it? Well, first of all, we went after Bigfoot with guns, so they automatically were like, no, right? No. There's so many places that you can't get cell service. There's so many places that you're not gonna like necessarily whip out your phone in time for like a huge 6-foot monkey person, ape person to walk by. Like, they might be like, bye. And there's a lot of like grainy footage. There's a lot of people trying to get them. Some of them look real, some of them look less real. And I like don't care, right? I'm not like invested in whether or not we like capture Bigfoot on camera, because I mostly support Bigfoot and their like desire for isolation. Maybe they live in tunnels, maybe they live underground, maybe they live in the trees, maybe they do not let anybody who actually ever sees them live. Like, I don't know. And honestly, that's their business. That's their business. And how are you going to tell me that Bigfoot is the one cryptid that has a story about their type of species all over this planet, like everywhere, like the Himalayas and China and South America, like everywhere? Almost like dragons. Like, I just feel like dragons and Bigfoot, like, how do we all have that story? Like, come on, right? Come on. But then also, who am I to question an absolute expert like this woman right here? Like this woman right here. That's right, people. That's right. Honorary gorilla herself, the only human who literally speaks gorilla. We are looking at Jane Goodall and saying, you don't know what you're talking about? Please. She said when she was flying over, obviously I'm paraphrasing the story, but she was flying, they went like a 2-hour flight over straight jungle, no roads, no nothing, to land in to talk to these remote villages, right? And these villages weren't connected to anybody. They didn't have like roads and stuff. And they had sort of like town crier style people who would like deliver letters and messages between these peoples that were living there in their communities, right? They communicated to each other through these like sort of hunter people who travel between the villages. And Jane Goodall had an interpreter with her and was like, the next time you talk to one of these people, these town criers, these hunters, these go-betweens, ask them if they've ever seen a monkey without a tail. And these people were like, oh yeah, girl, absolutely. Monkeys, no tail, 6 feet tall, they walk, stand upright. Yeah, definitely. Like unfazed, like that's definitely it. And Jane Goodall was like, these people do not know the myth of Bigfoot. They do not have the media. They don't know that other people are experiencing this type of animal or creature or whatever. They just know what they've seen. I'm sorry, I believe them. I'm sorry, I believe them. And indigenous people all the time, people will laugh at them and say they're wrong or say they're like making things up in their myths. And then lo and behold, we dig something up and it's like, oh, they might have been telling the truth. Like how there are many indigenous nations in this country who were like, I did not come over on a land bridge. That did not happen. And then we find out that the land bridge theory is like fully not true. And they were right. Remember, I film on my phone, so I can't look it up right now, but off the top of my head, I remember there's a tribal nation on Turtle Island in the US that's like, we had wars with red-headed giants. And everybody was like, ha ha ha, silly myth, right? And then what did they find? But the remains of these giant these giant people. I don't know if they could tell that they were red-haired from their remains, but I feel like they said they locked them in a cave, and what did they find but like a freaking cave full of all these people's remains? Like, hello, listen to them. Believe indigenous people. I'm sorry, the South American indigenous people, the North American indigenous people, the Chinese indigenous people, the indigenous people along the Himalayas, everybody's like, yeah, definitely, fully, yeah. But I'm supposed to be like, I know better because I Google things sometimes. Like, no, I don't know anything. They know things. I believe them. And for that reason, I love Bigfoot. And if you're looking for a good Bigfoot story, I recently read Patricia Likes to Cuddle by someone. We'll put the book up right here. Someone wrote it, I'm sure. And it is a story, like a wild horror story, a blend of like The Bachelor and like a cryptid encounter. And it is definitely horror. It's definitely gore. It does not have, it depends on who you are, whether or not you think it has a happy ending. It was wild. It was a good time and I highly recommend it. But I love Bigfoot. I stand Bigfoot. I will go toe to toe for Bigfoot. And I feel like they probably don't even like that name Bigfoot. They're like, not even all of us have that big of feet. And that's probably true. They're probably not all 6 feet. We're not all 6 feet tall. Most of us are 5'6". So just because the ones you saw were 6 feet doesn't mean they're all super tall. So there's like a lot of reasons, right? There's a lot of things that I could work out in my head to explain to myself why it's not like super common knowledge. But I also am not a person who needs to know. I don't need the information to love them from afar. And so I say, let Mothman be free. Let Bigfoot be free. Let the Kelpies do whatever they're going to do, except for, protect yourself. Protect yourself. You have the right to be well as well, but you don't need to like demolish an entire species just because some of them are poisonous to you, right? Like that's next level on like incorrect. That's not what we do. So I say let the Loveland frog people do what they're gonna do. Let the aliens do what they're gonna do. Mind your business. Mind the business that pays you. And you know what? I'm sure it will all work out. We're all only afraid of aliens because we think they're gonna do what the other colonizers did when they landed in the places that they colonized. And I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, right? Who knows? What if they want to help us? What if they're like, it's a mess down there and we want to help you because this is a mess and y'all got a really nice planet and we can't sit by and watch you make a mess of it like this. This is why this was supposed to be over by now, but this is why I'm like, vampires better not be real. They better not be real. Vampires literally better not be real because I'm going to be angry with them if they're real. You're telling me you live forever. You're incredibly fast and strong. And you could kill anybody and no one will ever find out because you don't get on cameras, you don't have a reflection, and you're just sort of letting us destroy the planet. I'm sorry. Even if you are like evil or whatever, like I don't believe in the actual devil because he's not in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know why you guys believe in it. You guys, like all the Christians are watching my video. But like clearly I don't have like a problem. But even then, you live here too, and you gave up your chance at reincarnation. You gave up your humanity because you wanted eternal life. Where do you want to spend that eternal life? floating in space, you better save the planet. So this is a warning to vampires. Do something about this, please. Don't subjugate us, because that's also not going to be balanced. Look at what we did to the cows. It's not working out. If you do that to us, it's not going to work out. But let's strike a balance, right? Let's fix these things, because if we fuck it up, you're not going to have anywhere to live either. So that's a message. Imagine I have like so many vampire subscribers and they're all really mad at me. I sincerely apologize to the vampire community. I don't mean to be rude to you, but let's also, like, I am trying to sort of wake you up here. I'm sort of trying to like shake your eternal bones awake to the reality of the dire situation that we're in. Not that there's no reason to hope, because there is, because it's not over. But if vampires are just sitting down, watching it go astray, y'all better have a plan. You better have a plan. You better have a plan. Or you better not be real. Thank you for listening to this unhinged, wild journey through my brain's relationship to cryptids. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Have a good day. What's your favorite cryptid? Tell me, have you seen a cryptid? Are you a cryptid hunter? Did I offend you? Are you upset? Any feelings you have, let me know in the comments and we'll go at it. Just kidding. I won't fight with you. I have a schedule. I can't be fighting people on the internet. I do not have the time. But I want to know what you think and I want to know how you feel. If you liked this, subscribe, stick around, join the Loveland Frog people and the vampires that follow me in this subscription. And I'll see you for the second video of the week for another C word, not the one you're thinking of. All right, love you, bye.